In the year 2092, the effects of climate change have ravaged the majority of plant life on Earth, rendering the planet almost uninhabitable. In response, a corporation named UTS has constructed a new orbital habitat designed to replicate Earth's natural systems. However, access to this sanctuary is limited to a select few, with even fewer granted citizenship. Those who remain on Earth are left to contend with toxic air, exorbitant taxes, and severe poverty. Sullivan, the founder of UTS, is actively pursuing the transformation of Mars into a new Earth by cultivating genetically engineered plants. During a press conference, he shares his ambitious plans, announcing the imminent inauguration of a Martian colony. One reporter challenges him, pointing out that previous initiatives have primarily benefited the elite while neglecting the thousands still struggling on Earth, not to mention the hazardous debris orbiting the planet at high speeds. To address this issue, a group of workers known as space sweepers risk their lives to collect the debris, selling it as their sole source of income. Sullivan concedes that his plans are not without flaws and agrees to a private discussion with the reporter. Meanwhile, on Earth, Tejo is in a desperate search for his daughter, attempting to bribe officials with his meager supply of rice in hopes of viewing the latest body that has arrived at the morgue. The authorities escort him to the morgue, but once again, he faces disappointment. The following day, a large piece of debris collides with a satellite near the solar battery charging station. A team of space sweepers rushes to secure the debris with their ships, but their efforts are interrupted by the arrival of a vessel named Victory. An android named Bubs stands atop the ship, launching a harpoon that ensnares the debris. Victory then accelerates, prompting the other sweepers to pursue. Bubs skillfully reels in the rope to retrieve the debris, while Tiger operates the ship's machinery to ensure optimal speed and performance. As the other ships close in and attempt to seize the prize, Captain Zhang utilizes Victory's arm to fend them off with ease. In a bold maneuver, pilot Tejo takes a risk and maneuvers Victory to gain an advantage. As the other vessels approach in an attempt to seize the cargo, Captain Yang skillfully utilizes Victory's arm to repel them with ease. Pilot Teo executes a daring maneuver, navigating Victory around the solar panels and through narrow passages to evade pursuit. This risky action nearly results in a collision with the residential sector, but Tejo manages to steer the ship away just in time. They arrive at a factory that serves as a waste management satellite. Teo disposes of the collected materials, but the compensation is minimal. Ultimately, the crew finds themselves in a state of financial distress. Tejo's frustration escalates, prompting a clerk to brandish a knife in an attempt to subdue him. Meanwhile, a news broadcast displays a missing persons alert for an android named Dorothy, who was abducted from UTS 2 days prior by a radical group known as the Black Foxes. Although she appears innocent, she is in fact a weapon, and civilians are advised to contact security rather than approach her. Tejo, however, remains indifferent and departs. That evening, the atmosphere among the Victory crew is tense due to their financial predicament. A dispute arises, quickly escalating into a physical altercation that leaves the human crew members incapacitated. Bubs discreetly stores her savings in a box, revealing that she is the only one who has been diligent in saving money. Her aspiration is to acquire a more advanced body with synthetic skin. Later, the crew ventures out to examine the debris they collected, which turns out to be a damaged ship in surprisingly good condition, considering it originated from an area infested with nanobots that consume metal. Suddenly, lights illuminate the interior of the ship, prompting the crew to open the cargo box, from which a multitude of airbags emerges. To their astonishment, they discover Dorothy concealed among them. They bring her aboard the Victory, and Teo is reminded of his own daughter as he gazes at her. At that moment, the news show the missing ad again, and the crew gets scared when they hear she's a weapon, quickly running for cover when she opens her mouth. However, she's just sneezing. Then the crew runs to hide in their rooms and decide how to proceed. Teo comes out again to try to tie her up, but as soon as she moves, he gets scared and hides behind some metal. In that instant, he notices a bag she possesses, which he seizes and takes to his room for further inspection. Inside, he finds a phone with numerous missed calls directed to someone named Dr. Kang, along with documents from UTS bearing the same name. The crew resolves to head towards a residential district designated for non-citizens. While they disembark, Dorothy remains on the ship, and once alone, she demonstrates a remarkable ability that causes a withered plant to flourish. Meanwhile, the crew gathers at a bar to discuss their options. Agar attempts to contact the police but is left on hold, while Teo proposes that they could profit significantly by selling Dorothy to the Black Foxes. This suggestion sparks a heated debate, but eventually they reach a consensus. Teo produces a voice-modulating device that is untraceable and contacts Dr. Kang, presenting a video of Dorothy and demanding $2 million in exchange for her release. Kang promptly consents to the payment, and they agree on a location. An alert sounds from the computer, indicating the approach of law enforcement. They quickly remove their disguises and conceal the girl. The cop explains his station got a call from this ship and notices Tiger gesturing at someone behind a door. With a taser in hand, he enters the room to search for anything suspicious, but Dorothy sneaks around and always stays hidden. Tejo takes some of Bub's savings and puts in the cop's hand before the guy pushes him away. However, the cash is still in his fingers, and Bubs recorded everything, so Zhang threatens to report him until he leaves. Afterward, Tejo and Tiger put on the costumes again and go to a club in the commercial district for the exchange. While Tiger keeps Dorothy safe in a bag, Taejo moves to meet with Kang, who surprises him from behind and checks for weapons before telling him to move. In a balcony nearby, some guards get ready to shoot. The duo meets with Tiger and Kang hands him a suitcase with the money. But when they open the bag, they discover Dorothy is gone. The girl is wandering among the dancing crowd, who suddenly freezes when they notice a child. At that moment, everyone's devices start showing Dorothy's missing ad, and they step back in fear. The guards open fire and Taejo drags her out of the way just in time. But the shots destroy the DJ booth. It causes panic and everyone runs away. Kang keeps trying to reach Dorothy, but the running crowd pushes him along. As Taejo and Tiger keep looking for Kang, a guard notices them and fires right at them. However, Dorothy's power creates a shield that dissolves all the bullets. The guards still keep on shooting until there's not a single presence left in the room, thinking they've killed their objectives. However, the guys manage to sneak away with Dorothy, and they're leaving in victory now. Since the ship has damage, they must stay in the factory. After scolding them for failing, Yang destroys Dorothy's phone because she thinks the guards used it to track them. She saved Kang's number so they can contact him with their own communicator. In the meantime, Sullivan is chatting with his scientist team about the nanobots on Mars that are trying to build plants and even an ocean. Someone brought him Dorothy's goggles from the club and he keeps staring at them as he scolds his team, saying they must find evidence that there's no hope on Earth. His veins gain a dark color as he wiggles in pain. Sometime later, Dorothy asks Taejo for scissors and uses them to cut off the tomatoes that have grown on the plant. Taejo is impressed and takes Dorothy with him to sell them to other sweepers, making some money but also bonding in the process. Afterward, it's Bub's turn to watch over Dorothy, and they share makeup. While they chat, Bub's scan discovers a secret about Dorothy, but the girl changes the subject to ask about Taejo. Bubs explains Taejo was a child soldier, and for most of his life, he knew nothing but violence. One day during a mission, his team killed a mother and he found a baby in the arms of the dead body. Instead of sending her to Earth like the rules said, he adopted her as his daughter. Soon he discovered that the explosion from the mission had left her deaf, and he blamed himself. So from then on, he wasn't capable of hurting people anymore. This caused UTS to fire him, and they ended up in a poor neighborhood. One evening, while Taejo was trying to make some money, his daughter wandered away. Suddenly, some space debris crashed in the neighborhood, killing thousands of people and sending the others running in panic. In the chaos, Taejo couldn't find his daughter, and watched in horror how part of the town flew away into space. Later, the authorities explained they had about 3 years to find the body. After that, there would be zero chance of recovery because the debris would be too far away. A search company could be hired to find her quickly, but he couldn't afford them. To this day, Taejo is still looking for her. That's why he joined a sweeper crew. Bub's story is interrupted when some court agents find her with Dorothy. At that moment, the ship's phones start ringing, and Taejo tries rushing to it, but the agents stop him. A desperate Taejo just pushes them away and manages to get the call, during which he agrees to a new meeting with Kang. Unfortunately, the court agent sees victory, announcing it's now property of the bank because of the crew's debt. In private, Tiger admits he doesn't want to sell Dorothy anymore because he fears what they may do to her. But Taejo needs the money to find his daughter and the crew needs to get the ship back. When Dorothy goes to the bathroom, a man follows her inside. Suddenly, the crew hears her scream and they realize she's been kidnapped. The crew immediately starts looking for her, and Tiger remembers the tunnels, so he jumps in there to find a man taking Dorothy away. Tiger chases after the man. Taejo arrives just in time to take Dorothy from the kidnapper by surprise. Then the guy takes out a blade, only for Taejo to quickly bring him down with his soldier training. Unfortunately, the man isn't alone, and more masked criminals come out at the same time Tiger returns, angrily beating them all up in just a matter of minutes. Jang also comes and unmasks the leader, discovering the clerk that usually buys their debris. In the meantime, Sullivan is having a meeting with a reporter that called him out. Sullivan explains he doesn't choose the citizens according to their economic status. His system runs DNA tests to choose the people with the best genes. The reporter points out that UTS is draining Earth's economy and creating too much, effectively accelerating Earth's death. Getting creepy, Sullivan starts describing how he saw everyone in his village die when he was young, and he lost his family, so since then, he promised he would make humanity better. At the same time, his guards bring an unconscious black fox and drop him on the floor. Sullivan tells the reporter he'll make him a citizen if he shoots the fox, and the reporter does it after some hesitation. However, Sullivan sees this, a proof the guy is trash, and kills him while his skin changes color. Back to the crew, they confront the kidnappers while Dorothy rushes to the bathroom. Jang points out robots don't poop and concludes Dorothy is human, which Bubs confirms. Then she uses a special light to reveal the kidnappers' tattoos, proving them to be black foxes. The group explains the foxes aren't terrorists. They're actually an environmental organization. Dorothy was born with an illness that destroys her nerves, so her father Kang injected nanobots into her body. These repaired her nerves but also gave her special powers to make plants grow. This meant she could heal Earth and Sullivan's Mars project wouldn't be needed. When Sullivan heard about Dorothy, he sent his guards to kill her. The labs and scientists that worked with her were destroyed. But Dorothy couldn't be killed because the only way to kill a nanobot is to use a hydrogen bomb. Such a bomb can be found inside the factory's anti-gravity system, so the soldiers want to put her there and blow it up. Then the factory would crash on Earth and cause enough natural and nuclear disasters to finally put an end to it. In short, Sullivan wants to cleanse humanity. Suddenly, they hear some gunshots and discover the soldiers have arrived at the factory and are looking for them by hitting any person they see in the way. The Foxes escape through the back door while Yang and Tiger walk normally through the corridors, pretending they're random workers. Taeho takes Dorothy and they escape through the vents, but Dorothy sneezes and a soldier sees them. They start moving faster as the soldier opens fire and Jong creates a distraction by activating Victory. Taeho and Dorothy manage to make it to a bridge and run as they dodge the fire from the guards, jumping at the last second to grab onto the ship before it leaves. When a soldier also jumps and lands on top of Taeho, it pulls at Dorothy until they're both fallen. The soldier makes a perfect landing and gets ready to catch the girl, only for Tiger to swing by and catch her first. Once everyone is aboard, Taeho flies out as fast as possible. There are missiles following them, and one explodes too close to the ship, sending it flying into the debris field. Soon, Victory starts failing, and the crew can't keep up with all the necessary repairs, which allows a nanobot infestation to get into the ship. As the nanobots cover the entire Victory, Dorothy activates her powers and sends them all away in seconds. Then she passes out and Tiger notices her heart has stopped, so he immediately starts CPR. To his surprise, Dorothy farts and wakes up as if nothing happened. Soon, Victory leaves the debris field and picks up the news, which announced the crew members are now wanted criminals. They've been classified as members of the Black Foxes and even blamed for the attack at the club and the factory. At the same time, Sullivan is going through a medical treatment while looking at the crew's files. Yang used to be an engineer for the UTS Genius program and invented some important devices. However, she deserted at 19 for forming an anti-UTS organization. She tried to assassinate Sullivan but failed, and her whole group died during the attempt. Tiger used to be a cartel leader on Earth who fled the planet to avoid capture since he was sentenced to death. If he's ever caught, he'll immediately be executed. Taejo was the inaugural commander of the Space Guard and the first soldier who Sullivan carried into the company in his own arms. Moments later, the Victory crew gets a message from the Foxes, and they meet inside an old colony. Soon they come aboard and Dorothy runs to reunite with Kang, while Yang notices something strange. This place is covered with EMP explosives, which then activate and shut down all the ship's systems plus Bubs. At that moment, the soldiers enter Victory and start shooting down the Foxes before kidnapping Dorothy. Chang's crew tries to help her, but the soldiers quickly knock them down. The trio only gets arrested, but all the Foxes are killed, including Kang. Sullivan arrives and puts a hand in Yang's mouth to extract a microchemical bomb that she almost used for self-destruction. He doesn't kill anyone because of their shared history, and instead monologues about his plan. Then he drops a bunch of money as payment for Dorothy, mocking Taejo for grabbing it to find his daughter. Afterwards, Sullivan tells his people to put Dorothy in the factory and crash it on Earth. Then he appears as a hologram for all the UTS citizens and announces Mars is ready to be lived in. Back in Victory, Taejo is collecting his part of the money. The others consider it dirty and don't want it. In fact, they want to rescue Dorothy and ignore Taejo when he says they'll die trying. Taejo goes to the search company and pays them to find his daughter. While waiting, he looks at her old things and finds some loving words she wrote for him, even though during those days he was only a drunkard that ignored her. Realizing he's doing the same now, Taeho runs back to Victory and agrees to help rescue Dorothy. As Taeho flies as fast as he can, Jang takes out her old gun from her rebel days and stands outside the ship to open fire at the incoming soldiers. She can't keep up with everything, so Bubs comes out and starts swinging among the enemy ships, destroying them with her harpoon. Unfortunately, the harpoon breaks and Bubs has to go back. Taeho asks Tiger to push the machinery to its limits and starts flying toward Earth, only to pull Victory back at the last second. The missiles following them aren't fast enough and burn down when crossing the atmosphere. There are still a few ships following them, but Victory goes fast and enters the factory just in time. The crew rushes inside the gravity chamber and rescues Dorothy. Jang checks on the bomb's programming and discovers the detonator is inside it, so it'll go off if she tries to hack it. They need to take Dorothy over 5,000 kilometers away so the shockwaves won't destroy her nanobots. Their discussion is interrupted by the arrival of a soldier who quickly knocks Taejo and Jang out. Tiger tells Dorothy to run back to the ship while Bubs tries fighting the soldier, but she is easily defeated too. Then Tiger tackles the soldier into a corridor and locks the door behind him. Tiger tries his best to fight, but the soldier is too strong and easily beats him up. A desperate Tiger chooses to open the hatch, causing both of them to be sucked out by the pressure change. With his axe, Tiger defeats the soldier and climbs back into the chamber. The crew gets ready to leave only to hear there are attack drones coming. Jong opens communications with the other sweepers and explains Sullivan's plan, asking for help. Jong flies Victory out of the factory as fast as possible as Jong shoots as many drones as she can. When they make it outside, they discover all the factory workers and other sweepers waiting in their ships. By working together, the sweepers start bringing down dozens of drones at the same time with impressive aim, allowing Jong's crew to safely fly away to save Dorothy. Meanwhile, the recording of Sullivan's monologue made by Victory is sent to the news, and now all humanity knows the truth. A furious Sullivan leaves in his own ship and finds Victory, opening fire to stop them. Zhang fires back as Taiho flies as fast as possible, but all the shaking causes some metal to fall and trap Zhang under it. Suddenly, Sullivan uses a mechanical arm to hit Victory, and Yang ends up floating away from the ship. Next, Sullivan climbs on top of Victory, and Bubs tries to stop him, only to get cut in two. A wounded Yang manages to hold onto the ship and reaches the booster system, activating it just in time to send Victory into a flying speed that throws Sullivan off. Unfortunately, the booster doesn't last long, and Sullivan reaches Victory again, breaking it open with the mechanical arms. To his shock, he finds the bomb inside. It turns out the crew took the bomb with them when they left the factory and dropped Dorothy with the other sweepers before they flied away. This way, they acted as bait for Sullivan and saved everyone at the same time, even if it cost their lives. The other sweepers watch with tears as the bomb goes off, killing Sullivan and destroying Victory. At that moment, Dorothy activates her powers and controls the nanobots, which safely bring the biggest piece of Victory out of the explosion with the crew still alive inside. Sometime later, UTS apologizes for the cover-up and promises to start working on restoring Earth. The sweepers are paid very well for their heroism, so their debt is gone, and Bubs finally has the body she wanted. Teijo takes Dorothy to the search company, and she connects to the nanobots in the debris area, which allow her to search for his daughter's DNA. A projection of her body appears, and Teijo meets her in the astral plane to say goodbye. The crew adopts Dorothy and lives like a happy family as Earth becomes green again. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this.